design for your own life. And so I think that one of the reasons that people are not experiencing the level of freedom that they really want to see in their lives is because they have not taken the time to design what a lifestyle of freedom looks like for them. And I believe that when you frame your world in generalizations, you produce a mediocre existence. Write that down. When you frame your world in generalizations, you construct a reality that is mediocre. And so you have to take one of the things that has contributed to my success is taking the time to define what freedom looks like to me. Not the definition that I heard this guru say, not what I read in a book, not what I heard on a podcast or in an interview, but what does that actually look like for me? And so I want you to do me a favor. After you listen to this podcast, I want you to spend some time over the next week or so. Get your journal out and begin to ask yourself the critical question of what does freedom look like to me, and begin to script that out, write it out, and create that narrative of what you want that to look like in your life. What I have come to the conclusion of is that as long as you see freedom beyond your reach, you will live restricted and you will live below your potential. So what we have to do is we have to begin to address these limiting beliefs and perceptions that have told you that freedom is out of reach for you. What events, what trauma, what conditions in your life have created this false narrative that has told you that freedom is not available to you? Or as I have often told myself and told people that I've worked with over the years, has bondage become so comfortable for you that you don't believe you have the power to break a cycle? Because one of the things that I see in the lives of so many people is that bondage has become such a comfortable and a convenient way of living that they don't even have the psychological bandwidth to see a life where they can break cycles and they can experience the freedom and the transformation that they want to see. And as long as you cannot see that, you're going to live restricted, you're going to live powerless, and you're going to absolutely live your life below your potential. What I know to be true is that freedom is not something that you have to covet or chase. Freedom is something that you get to choose and create for your life. I really want you to get that. Freedom is not something that you have to covet. Freedom is not something you have to chase. Freedom is something that you choose and you create for your life. And so I won't go back into the power of choice because we discussed that in an earlier part of this series. But what I do want to begin to delve into today is the importance of creating freedom as a lifestyle for yourself. So many people are living their lives on autopilot. They're just going through life. They are not conscious. They are not aware. They are not sober. They are just rushing their way through life, and they never take the time to sit still, get quiet, and to determine what is freedom for me and what does that look like. What would a lifestyle of freedom truly look like for me? And I'm not just talking about financial freedom. I'm talking about freedom psychologically, freedom emotionally, freedom spiritually, freedom relationally, freedom in terms of your vocation and your professional life, freedom in your family, freedom in every dimension of your life. What does that look like, and what would it feel like for you to embrace that as a reality? That's something that I want you to begin to think about. One of the things that I have discovered is that in life you have many battles to fight. However, one of the most important battles you will have to fight is the battle for freedom. Now, I can talk to you about a lot of things, but one thing that I can really talk to you about is the battle for freedom in life. I can look back at my life years ago, and I know a lot of people find it very hard to believe because they see me today and they see a different version of me. But this was not always the case. And what I realized for me is that the greatest barrier, I want you to really hear this, to freedom in Jamel's life was psychological barriers. It's not that even a lot of the illusions that I thought were limitations or restrictions or barriers, they were not even real. They were things that I constructed in my own mind. And so as I began to understand that, I also realized that those barriers were not built psychologically overnight, and they weren't going to be deconstructed overnight. But what I did make a decision to do is I made the decision to deconstruct those self-limiting beliefs one by one. And if you want to embrace a life of freedom, you are going to have the courage to take the time to deconstruct your belief systems and rebuild it again. I'm known around the world as a revolutionary leader and thinker. People come to me for my thoughts and ideas. They want to know what I think about this. They want to know what strategies or insights or tools could I give them in this particular area, and that is a great gifting in my life. But what people don't understand is that you see that revolutionary thinker today, but you don't know about that restricted thinker that years ago would have never thought some of the things that I think today. I had to begin to deconstruct those thoughts and get to the root of the toxicity that was standing in the way of my transformation. So many people, they neglect the mind. They want to flourish, they want to thrive in life, but they're neglecting the mind. And they think that they can just pack more information on top of an unrenewed mind and that they're going to live this uncommon life. And it's just not a reality. I always tell people you don't need more information. What you need is the wisdom to apply the information that you have in such a way that it advances your life. It is only the application of wisdom, the application of insight that has the ability to advance your life, not more information. So there are a lot of people that get a lot of information, they read a lot of information, they digest and consume a lot of information, but their lives are not changing. And their lives are not changing because it's not in the acquisition of facts and information, it's in application. And most people fail miserably in the area of application. One of the things that has made me the person I am today is I know the power of application, not just reading and hearing information, but I know how to apply it to my life and get results, and I know how to do that for other people. And I think it's one of the things that distinguishes me, because you can listen to any podcast, you can get information, but people say, when I walk away from your podcast, I feel like I have the steps and the tools that I need to make changes in my life. That's the power of application versus information. And so if you really want to experience breakthrough, you really want to live your life at the next level, you have to become a person that is applying this information and these wisdom insights to your life so that you can be better in the process. I can't stay there. In other words, you will lose in life as long as you are unwilling to contend for liberty. So you have to make a decision that you are going to fight for liberty in your life. A lot of people just settle. They settle for status quo. They settle for circumstances. They settle for situations. And what that sends as a signal to my brain, as somebody that has done a lot of work internally, it lets me know that freedom is not really important to that individual, because anything that you are willing to relinquish so quickly, you don't really respect. Let me say it again. Anything that you are willing to relinquish so quickly, you don't really respect, whether that's a relationship, whether that's your personal power, whether that's a conviction or a standard, whatever that thing is, if you are willing to relinquish it so quickly and not to put up any fight or resistance, you don't really value or respect that thing in your life. And so a lot of people say they want freedom, they respect freedom, they value freedom, but their lives are moving in the opposite direction of freedom. So it lets me know that that's something that that person does not really value. And so through this series, we've been exploring what it means to live a life of wholeness. I've been vulnerable, and I have shared openly from my life and my experiences because I want to help you to live your life at the next level. And, you know, some people say to me, Jamel, you overshare. You share too much. And I tell them, I say I share exactly what I need to share because I am not trying to hide things from people. I'm trying to help people